What's up, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of the podcast. My name is Robbie Cassidy, and on this episode we're going to look at a couple of small changes we made recently to our clients' programs, and I want to talk about the impact that this has had on the overall success of a lot of the clients. So I guess it's been a while since I put out a podcast, and things have been going fairly well, I guess. It changed a lot, and honestly it's been really good in a lot of ways. Personally and professionally, things have been changing. So right now I'm in Portugal because I spent the winter in Bulgaria, and it does sound a little bit random, but I have to say that the snowboarding in Bulgaria is pretty good. So it was nice to change it up and try out a new skill, try pick up a new skill. But I guess now there's been huge focus since I've come back around changing the structure of the business in ways, and we've put a lot more emphasis on our back to exercise program, and then obviously the one-to-one as well, because that's obviously always running in the background. But a big shift for us in the program is we've taken the reviews that over the last couple of years people have said, and I guess some of the testimonials, and we've looked at the areas that needed improvement, and we noticed that there was certain things, that obstacles people were consistently running into. So we wanted to make smaller changes and see if we could impact the results. And what we've noticed is that since we've made the changes to their programming, we've seen huge results. Like they really have gone through the roof, and we're having a lot of happy customers out of it because people are getting back into exercise, starting to get confidence back in themselves again, and really seeing an overall improvement in their quality of life. And a lot of it comes down to one thing. Well, I guess the main change that we have made within the programming, and that's the structure. I think a lot of people, when they come to us, is they're struggling with this idea of clarity and structure and knowing what to do and what to work on. They go to the physio, they get your 3 or 4 exercises, and then afterwards they are kind of told to go away by themselves and work on it, and hopefully things will get better. Now the problem there is there's no real end goal, there's no real time to stop doing the exercises, and the exercises don't have any progressions on them. And a lot of people are just saying that they've been doing the exercises, they notice an improvement, things come back, then they go to the consultant, they get an injection, they get back to the exercises, they do a few massages, they're taking painkillers, but they're kind of stuck in this medical cycle. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to get rid of that idea that you need to consistently be looking for massage or taking painkillers or looking for injections or living by the limits that your back has put on you. So we wanted a clear path instead of just giving you more exercises and adding, like doubling down on the exercises. And what we used to do is we had a structure in the program that would ramp up each week depending on where the person started. And it was really good for some, but people who have busy lives and you work, you have kids, there's different stresses in your life, you'll often hit a wall if you just continue to increase. And in a lot of ways then you'll start to fall behind and feel like you either have to start over or stop completely. And this was a complaint that people coming to us had from other programs, so we wanted to make sure that we addressed this within our program. And in the past we did have it that it was progress, and it was working really well, as I said, for some people. But the thing is that when rehab has no structure and you are just stopping and starting, it's very hard to reach the goal of what you're trying to get to. So most people just start training again, and then they keep pushing until something flares up. And you can look at that two ways. All right, we can go down the avenue of that's good because you have a strategic flare up, but if you don't understand that's what you're doing, then it makes it difficult because you feel like you're back at square one. Strategic flare up is something that we talk about extensively within the group as well, because you can create these flare-ups or these scenarios that you push the body to a point that it kicks back, you take care of it, you take care of the mindset around it, and then you can build again. That's a strategic flare-up. And not to kind of go off topic, but I think it is important to address that. It's like not all flare-ups are a bad thing either. Sometimes they can be good. But the issue is that there's no rhythm, there's no real plan, there's no pullback, okay? And what happens is the body doesn't get a chance to adapt when you have this mindset if you don't know what you're working towards. So you push, you get back to running, you get back to football, you get back to the activities that you love, things flare up and you feel like you've done something wrong and you're back again. And that is the issue, okay? The thing is that when people start to see progress, and this happens a lot within our program as well, is the motivation jumps through the roof, and then their discipline starts to follow as well. So they feel like I can do more, and like they get this new lease of life and this new energy, which is great. You love to see it. Like it's really good to see. But oftentimes, if you're not intelligent about how you approach it, you will hit that obstacle, and the body will be pushed to its limits, and as a result, then it can either break down or it can flare up. Okay, so in a lot of cases, people just push until they crash, and that's the pattern that we recognized, and it's something that we wanted to address as soon as possible within the program. And the biggest tweak that has made a change for people here, well, there's a couple of things that we did really. One big change is we made the program longer. So we wanted to make sure that we're addressing these, and that if people hit that obstacle, that we can help them through it. Okay, because obviously the more contacts we have, the more time we have with people, the more space to kind of guide the recovery and address the issues that crop up. And a huge tweak then within that programming and the structure is we added a thing called a deload week. This has been absolutely key to people making big change and getting back to sports. And it's something that is not generally put in programs. It's in S&C, it's in sports programs. You'll see it, or like if you're conditioning for some type of a team training, or if you're working towards a marathon or something like that. But it's not really put in rehab programs, because there's a disconnect between rehab and then performance, but really one should lead into the next. And I'm not talking about performance where you need to be getting back and playing in the Premier League. I'm talking about performance where you are building the body up to a certain point, and then you transition into more of a performance-based rehab where it's your training. It's not really rehab as much anymore. It kind of moves to prehab and getting back and improving your ability to, I guess, express yourself within that domain. Okay, so that's what we need to look at. Now, here's the thinking behind a deload week. If we can build for 6 to 8 week block, what we do is we build for a 6 week block, because it allows everyone within the program to, it doesn't matter really where you're starting at. 6 weeks is a nice marker, and then we deload on the 7th week. Okay, but if you build momentum for 6 weeks straight, and then you pull back and you half your training load for the week, you kind of change what you're doing. The body gets a chance to recover and adapt. And that's really what we're playing into here, is we want it to be stronger. So when you change your mindset from just going to the gym to build strength, and you start to understand that it's a stress and adaptation curve, that you go to the gym and you push and you push and you push, but then you pull back and you make you just give the body a chance to adapt, then that's when you can see real progress. Like if you just started going to the gym 7 days a week, I think everyone here inherently knows that you're going to break down. But the same can happen if you look over a longer block, like 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 24 week long blocks. You should have multiple times within that block. If you're following a structure and you're following a progression, and your goal is to continue to progress, you need to have a stage where you're pulling back. And instead of just hitting that wall, when you pull back, you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to lose all my fitness. You're not. You're going to be sound. Don't worry about that. Not at all. But what will happen is that when you get back into it, the first session might be a little bit ropey, in that you just feel like I need to get back into the groove. But then you're going to see everything improving. And you see this in the gym all the time. People have a deload, they get back into it, and then they can increase the weight that they lift in the 6 weeks to 8 weeks after that. Okay? So it's not just a feeling. It's not this idea of, we feel that we should do it. It aligns with all the research around load management, especially when you're looking at performance and activity. So now what we do is everyone, let's say, comes into the program. You start with your beginner 1, which progresses to a beginner 2. So it's a 3 week and 3 week. And that way you can you get into the swing of things. You have your mobility and movement. There's a little bit of strength. Then the second beginner 2 is like a lot more strength. And obviously the mobility and movement is still there. But what we do is we push it to the point that you're getting a nice stimulus, and then we deload. We focus on the mobility and movement side. And then after that deload week, we go into the advanced 1 and the advanced 2. Okay? But it's crazy to see the difference that this makes in people's results. The little pause where they're just pulling back, you're not doing nothing, you're just pulling back a little bit. That little pause allows you to push a lot harder after it, and it's more safe to do it that way. Because you might have, let's give an example of how it may help, is that when you're doing a workout, let's just say you have been out of it for a while. I don't want to get into the deep end here, but I'll touch on it just a little bit. Let's say you've been out of it for a while and you're getting back. There'll be certain activation patterns within your body that will take over. Okay, I don't know, for sprinting, let's just say the hamstrings take over a lot. And we want more co-contraction around the hamstring and the calf. And if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, the hamstring will continue to take that load. So when you deload, you give the body a chance for the hamstring to adapt, but then you also give the nervous system a chance to better figure out how efficiently to use that movement. So when you come back into it, then you're more efficient at the pattern overall. It's not just the muscles we're looking at here. It's we need to look deeper at the system. So that's the idea, is you pull back and then you start to see it. You start to see the bigger change. There's obviously cardiovascular, there's neurological, there's respiratory, there's a lot more involved in that. The adaptation, it's not just the muscles, but I want to try to keep it some way simple so that you understand. Push, 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 pull back, and then you're going to see that you can push even further. So honestly, since that one change, we're seeing people blow past their old limits. They have a lot more control over the flare-up if it happens, or if they come into it, because they're not just fighting fatigue all the time. They're understanding the certain variables that are contributing to a flare-up. You're pushing, you're taking care of those, you're taking a step back, you're allowing it to recover, you're pushing a little bit further, you're controlling your mindset the whole time so that you can start to get the confidence in yourself again. Okay, because that's a big one. If I just said to you, go out and run a 5K, you're back at flare up, you haven't done it in 3 years, you're going to lose complete confidence in your body to be able to do it. You're going to lose confidence in me being able to teach you how to get back, and you're going to build up a lot of fear. So that's why we look at that progression and that structure. Okay, so we've seen people getting back to running, HIIT workouts, like people who are like, I could never do a burpee, getting back and doing minute on, minute off burpees. Football, tennis, and just honestly living day to day without flinching and like being hesitant when they're going out to pick up something off the ground. And the deload week honestly was the key there. It made such a difference, and barely anyone talks about it. Okay, so the other side of it is it gives you an extra spike of motivation. So you're pushing and then you're starting to get a little bit tired, so then you take a little bit of a deload, and when you get back into it, you have a renewed energy. It's like taking a mini holiday. You don't do nothing on a deload either, just to let you know. You still do a good bit, or you still do a bit anyway, but you just don't push to the same level. There's more of a focus on recovery. And in the one-to-one clients that I work with, when we talk about deload, and we do this obviously in the back pain group as well, is I say to people, make sure you do something new, like go dancing, or try skipping, or go for a swim, or do a sauna, go for a cold plunge. Try something new on that week that you can stimulate the body and just change your environment a little bit, so that when you come back into the old environment, you come back with honestly, it's a renewed energy is the easiest way to describe it. And then the other side of it is, within the program, is we're just teaching people the framework, so that when you finish the program, you know how to push, you know when to pull back, you know how to plan ahead, you know how to avoid setbacks. And they leave with a structure then that they can use forever. You can start looking at your training and saying, I would love to jump in, I don't know, a Tough Mudder, which is on in September or August or whenever it's on. And you'll say, okay, so I know I am 14 weeks out from that. That means that I can do 2 6-week blocks with 2 deloads. Okay, you may not want to do it that way. You may have a different training plan. That's okay. But at least you can see it then. You're not going to say the Tough Mudder is 14 weeks away. I'm going to start training like a dog now. And then you wonder why 10 days out from the Tough Mudder, your body starts to break down. Okay, so that's just being smart about it. I don't expect you to know all this. Don't worry about that. But it's at least if I can kind of shine a little bit more of a light on what's working for us and what the research shows, you may be able to start applying it to your own training. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the big change that we've made, and that has had such an impact on people's results. It's been actually outrageous, really, but it's great to see it because it's extremely positive. But if you're struggling with back pain right now and you want to get back to doing some exercises that you love or you enjoy, whether it's like running or golf or training in the gym or doing a marathon or a hike or whatever it is, we're always open to taking on new people. And it's open now at the moment, so I'm going to leave a link in the description. You can check it out, see what you think. Go on the page, have a look at some of the testimonials, some of the results we had. And if you like it, I'm happy if you jump on and book a call. But the thing is that we can only take on so many people at each time. Like generally it's like 10 people is what we take on, because I do one-to-one calls with people as well when they're coming into the program. And that's really important. So then you have the one-to-one and then you have the community and the group as well. So you hit it from both sides, because then you get that personalized aspect to the program. So yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, absolutely hit the link in the description below, and it would be great to see you there, and it'd be great to have you in our community and with other people who are in a position that they're just looking to make huge change in their life. So we would love to see you on the other side. Otherwise, it's good to be back doing a podcast. It's been a while since I did one like this. I just released a YouTube video, which I'm going to leave a link in the description anyway, which talks about my story, my own history of injuries and learning and having to overcome these, and why now I take the approach I do to back pain and to any injury really. So it's a video that I will pop in the description of this podcast, and you can check that out as well if you want to. Overall though, honestly, thank you so much for coming back and listening. As always, I do appreciate you here, and don't ever hesitate if you have any questions just to reach out. Send me a quick message and let me know if you have any injuries or any issues or any questions or concerns, and I'll do my absolute best and to point you in the right direction. But that's all from me. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for listening, and I'll chat to you all again very, very soon. Have a good one.